March 9, 1914. Translation by Sri Aurobindo. Those who live for Thee and in Thee may change their physical surroundings, their habits, climate, milieu, but everywhere they find the same atmosphere. They carry that atmosphere in themselves, in their thought, constantly fixed on Thee. Everywhere they feel at home, for everywhere they are in Thy house. No longer do they marvel at the novelty, unexpectedness, picturesqueness of things and countries. For them, it is Thy presence that is manifest in all, and Thy unchangeable splendor, which never leaves them, is apparent in the least grain of sand. The whole earth chants Thy praises, in spite of the obscurity, misery, ignorance. Through it all, it is still the glory of Thy love which we perceive and with which we can commune ceaselessly everywhere. O Lord, my sweet Master, all this I constantly experience on this boat, which seems to me a marvelous abode of peace, a temple sailing in Thy honor over the waves of the subconscious passivity which we have to conquer and awaken to the consciousness of Thy divine presence. Blessed was the day when I came to know Thee, O ineffable eternity. Blessed among all days be that day when the earth at last awakened shall know Thee and shall live only for Thee. March 10, 1914. In the silence of the night, Thy peace reigned over all things. In the silence of my heart, Thy peace reigns always. And when these two silences were united, Thy peace was so powerful that no disturbance of any kind could resist it. Then I thought of all those who were watching over the boat to safeguard and protect our course, and in gratefulness I wanted to make Thy peace spring up and live in their hearts. Then I thought of all those who, confident and free from care, slept the sleep of inconscience, and with solicitude for their miseries, pity for their latent suffering, which would arise in them when they awoke, I wanted that a little of Thy peace might live in their hearts and awaken in them the life of the Spirit, the light that dispels ignorance. Then I thought of all the inhabitants of this vast sea, both visible and invisible, and I willed that Thy peace might spread over them. Then I thought of those we had left far behind, and whose affection goes with us, and with a great tenderness I wanted Thy conscious and lasting peace for them, the plenitude of Thy peace as far as they could receive it. Then I thought of all those towards whom we are going, who are troubled by childish preoccupations and fight in ignorance and egoism for petty rivalries of interest, and ardently, in a great aspiration, I asked for them the full light of thy peace. Then I thought of all those we know, all those we do not know, all the life in the making, all that has changed its form, all that is not yet in form, and for all these, even as for all that I cannot think about, for all that is present to my memory, and for all that I forget, in a deep contemplation and mute adoration, I implored thy peace. March 12, 1914. O Lord, my one aspiration is to know Thee and serve Thee better every day. What do outer circumstances matter? They seem to me each day more vain and illusory, and I take less and less interest in what is going to happen to us in the outer life. But more and more am I intensely interested in the one thing which seems important to me, to know Thee better in order to serve Thee better. All outer events must converge upon this goal, and this goal alone, and for that all depends upon the attitude we have towards them. To seek Thee constantly in all things, to want to manifest Thee ever better in every circumstance. In this attitude lies supreme peace, perfect serenity, true contentment. In it life blossoms, widens, expands so magnificently in such majestic waves that no storm can any longer disturb it. O Lord, Thou art our safeguard, our only happiness. Thou art our resplendent light, our pure love, our hope and our strength. Thou art our life, the reality of our being. In a reverent and joyful adoration, I bow to Thee. March 13, 1914. How many different levels there are in consciousness. This word should be reserved for what is illumined in a being by Thy presence, is identified with Thee, and partakes of Thy absolute consciousness. For that which has knowledge, that which is perfectly awakened, as the Buddha says, outside this state there are infinite grades of consciousness, going right down to complete darkness, the veritable inconscience which may be a domain yet untouched by the light of Thy divine love. But this seems improbable in physical substance, or which is, for some kind of reason of ignorance, outside our individual range of perception. This is, however, only a way of speaking, and a very incomplete one, for when the being becomes aware of Thy presence and is identified with Thy consciousness, it is conscious in all things and everywhere. But the fleeting duration of this supreme consciousness can be explained only by the complexity of the elements of the being, by their unequal illumination, and by the fact that they enter into activity successively. It is, moreover, because of this successive activity that they can gradually become aware of themselves as a result of their experiences, both objective and subjective, which are really one and the same. That is, discover thee in their unfathomable essence. The subconscient is the intermediate zone between precise perception and ignorance, total darkness. It is probable that most beings, even human beings, live constantly in this subconscient. Few emerge from it. This is the conquest that is to be made. For to be conscious in the true sense of the word is to be thyself integrally. And is not this the very definition of the work to be accomplished, the mission to be fulfilled upon earth? Deliver us, O Lord, from darkness. Grant that we may become perfectly awake. Sweet Master of Love, grant that all my consciousness may be concentrated in Thee, so that I may live only by love and light, and that love and light may radiate through me and awaken in all on our journey. May this physical journey be like a symbol of our action, and may we leave everywhere a trace of Thee like a trail of light and love. O Divine Master, Eternal Teacher, Thou livest in all things, in all beings, and Thy love bursts upon the sight of even the most ignorant. Grant that all may become aware of it in the depths of their being, and that hatred may disappear forever from their hearts. My ardent gratitude rises to Thee like a tireless chant. March 14, 1914. In the immutable solitude of the desert, there is something of Thy majestic presence, and I understand why one of the best means of finding Thee has always been to withdraw into these immense stretches of sand. But for one who knows Thee, Thou art everywhere, in all things, and none of them seems more suitable than another for manifesting Thee. For all things that exist, and many others that yet do not, are necessary to express Thee. Each thing, by virtue of Thy divine intervention of love, is an effort of life towards Thee. And as soon as our eyes are unsealed, we perceive this effort constantly. O Lord, my heart is athirst for Thee, and my thought seeks for Thee constantly. In a mute adoration, I bow to Thee.